Hello, everyone, and welcome to another day in AI in real estate. Here is where we share real use case where you can deploy AI to work better and smarter. And for today's use case, I'm gonna do something that was part of my background when I was doing acquisitions in my old days at Hines and Tishman, and it was about modeling. I used to model almost every deal. Of course, sometimes we would recycle some models, and sometimes build from scratch. So I know this pretty well. This was like quite one of my, characteristics. I used to love to do it, but at the same time, I know it can be done a lot smarter. It used to take me a lot of time, and today I think it can be done a lot smarter and a lot faster. So let's jump into this use case today. A few episodes ago, I did a full underwriting of a deal. I started with a deep market research with 24 pages and a deep dive on everything that you needed to know about the market and the wards, and including all the sources for everything and fundamentals with supply, analysis, etc. Then I moved to a rank comp analysis, and I started the underwriting, which culminated on the creation of this investment memo and this investor level deck for capital raise. But as the model, as the underwriting model, it was a first pass model with as not as detailed as I wanted or as it could be, but pretty good to do that first pass. Now I'm gonna show you how you can go from this model, which had an assumption tab, then some executive summary tab, using source of funds, revenue build and everything, doing on an annual base, not on a detailed and monthly base to this model, a beautiful and more organized model where you can see best modeling practice, how the legend is formatted with sections separated by sections, then executive summary, all respecting best modeling practices again, a monthly revenue build up, all formulaic as you can see, uh, an expense build up as well, all formulaic with all the growth, etc. The monthly cash flows, the equity waterfalls, and the model checks. So I'll show you how to do this. And for today's use case, I'm going to use again Lenny. Lenny is an agentic AI that combines its own proprietary mathematical models with the best of the leading LLMs out there, including Claude, GPT, Gemini, etc. And what it does, it is a persistent model that whenever you ask a question, it divides in tasks and sends to the models in order to get the answers and combine the answers at the end. But instead of you babysitting, giving every time answering questions from the model, no, Lenny does that for you. And he only asks you the strategic and really important question in order to get you the final output. In addition to all of that, Lenny also does all the governance to avoid hallucinations and provide accurate answers. So let's see this. In that first pass model, I didn't provide a lot of guidance on how I wanted to be modeled. I just stated the assumption, discussed with Lenny some of the assumptions, and didn't provide anything regarding how I wanted to see the cash flows. So Lenny gave me a really good model without any guidance before. But of course, each company, each person has its own way to do modeling. And that's what I wanted to discuss and to see now how we could improve that. And for that, this is what I did. I came to memory at Lenny and I created this memory here. Excel model instructions. I added this to Lenny context, which means Lenny now, every time it goes to create a model, it goes through the memory, see the instructions, and do according to these instructions. So what I said here, use best modeling practices and standards for Excel model outputs. Use formulas for all calculations in the model. Hard code only external data values. Use color schemes according to best modeling practice. And if not, specify all cash flow projections must be on a monthly base and horizontally lined. So this is what I did first. And then I asked to do a new underwriting. First, I gathered the assumptions I needed again. But I also gave a few different instructions this time around. I wanted to see, for example, here, I wanted to see a 7-year hold instead of 5-year old hold. Different like purchase price still the same. And I'm now underwriting at least a period of 2 years between current occupancy and stabilization. Before was just everything. The first year would be fully stabilized, and what matters more, etc. And also, I gave a few more instructions how I wanted to see the breakdown of tabs, like one for assumptions, where the whole model is tied to, then separated by unit inputs. Each section has a type of input, a tab with executive summary separated by sections as well, one tab for revenue buildup, one tab for expense buildup, one tab for the cash flow, one tab for the waterfall, and explain what I wanted to see the waterfall, hurdles, and promote, and a tab for all the checks. And I said you can include other tabs if needed. So it thought for 25 minutes and recreated the whole model based on my assumptions. So I have my assumptions tab, and you can see the legend on how it's being formatted. Blue for hard-coded text, black formula calculations, green from other tabs, and yellow with key assumptions. Exactly how I used to do before. And separate like property details and timing, really good. Then purchase and transaction data, financing data, revenue buildup with unit mix, better unit mix, lease up and occupancy, other income, operating expenses, capex, exit values, and waterfall and returns. So even like the LP and GLP and GP stakes with preferred return and promote. Then I had executive summary again, separated by section and return metrics. Still juicy. Some of the assumptions have changed. Instead of 5-year hold period, now we have a 7-year hold period, all monthly and formulaic here, as you can see. For occupancy, you can see how it's building up over 2 years. The residential, the income, where is it coming from? We changed also other income assumptions. We gave more details on that we didn't have before. The expense buildup, broken down like OPEX broken down by type. Also the monthly cash flows, the waterfall assumptions for GP. And again, it's super juicy, but it's still a little lower than what we had before because we changed the lease up period plus the total hold period. So this was an example on how prompting and context is really important. We came from our first pass underwriting without any guidance. We didn't provide any guidance and just high level assumptions to a fully detailed model later on. We provided guidance, context, how we wanted to see the model, how we wanted to be broken down by tabs, by sections, and even we provided waterfall assumptions, a lot more details to it. And it got a really good underwriting model at the end. And I'll show more and more examples on how to better prompt to get better outputs, how context is important for your outputs as well here on AI in real estate.